Hey guys.
seemingly. If you read the Torah and keep in mind who is speaking, you get a very different feel, a very different picture. Imagine if instead of saying, in the beginning God created heaven and earth, it read, in the beginning I created heaven and earth. How different. We know it's the same God speaking. And yet, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth.
You fucking nigger. I'm gonna kill you.
Your first
Goddamn
reaction,
ass over here. Faggot.
heaven and earth were created.
Fucking nigger.
In other words, your attention naturally moves to creation. Very few people read the words, in the beginning God created heaven and earth, and wonder, who is this God that is creating the world? See, the words are a little distracting. But if it had said, in the beginning I created heaven and earth, where would your attention focus? I created heaven and earth. Well, who are you? See, that would be the immediate reaction. But when it says in the beginning God created heaven and earth, it becomes about creation more than the creator. That's the concealment. God is not being overpowering. Not, hey, I'm the creator, okay? I created everything. I'm the boss here. And you don't get to have your own opinion. No, God is subtle. Because he wants us to have freedom of choice. So what we should be hearing, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. It's almost like saying, okay, I did it all in the beginning. I did it all. But now, I need your participation. That's really the message of those words. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. But now, what are you doing to make the world a better place? And to describe the job that we are needed to partner in, it continues. And the world was dark and cold and chaos.
Dumb nigger cunt. Hold on, y'all.
And the Spirit of God hovered above the water. It's a mess. We need volunteers. We need partners to bring the hovering God down into his world so that it stops being a chaotic, dark, cold world. And the rest is how to. Now, to tell us how to, God uses individuals. There were Adam and Eve, then there was Noah, then there was Abraham, and then there was Isaac, and there was Jacob, and there was Moses. What about them? They partnered. They did their share.
Fucking lying nigger. I'm gonna slit your goddamn fucking throat, Mojang. I'm gonna slit your fucking nigger throats.
So when we read about Moses, we're reading about godliness in action.
This is why I go on creative. Goddamn you, Mojang. I'm gonna cut their fucking throats.
Being godly does not mean being mystical, sitting on a mountaintop and meditating. Being godly means partner in creation. Not a passive partner, an active partner.
Seriously thinking about ending this goddamn fucking map.
Every time we open up the Chumash, the Bible, the Torah, what are we about to do?
Seriously.
We're about to read the manual for making the world.
Fucking hate those faggots.
It's not a biography of Abraham. It's not a biography of phrases. We're there to learn from his model. How do we serve God? It was great. Awesome. But what was his greatness? He partnered with God.
There's where I'm supposed to goddamn be.
Read the whole drama of Moses coming to speak to Pharaoh. Fascinating. Every child reads Bible stories, knows the story. Moses said, "Let my people go." Pharaoh said no. 10 plagues. Lots of frogs. Fascinating. Kids love the story. The obvious question is, if God wants to take his people out of Egypt, what does he need Moses for? Can't he do it himself? That kind of kills the whole story. God said, "Go or I will kill you." What does he need Moses for? And why do you need 10 plagues? Give him the last one, the most convincing one, and it's over. Particularly, this is a question many people ask. There were 3 days of utter darkness where the Egyptians could see nothing.
Wow. Got me some goodies, hell
Pack
yeah.
up and leave. You're completely free to go. No one is going to stop you. What's going on here?
2294.
When do they leave? When Pharaoh wakes up in the middle of the night and goes running, begging people to locate Moses and beg Moses to please leave. Then they leave. You know, the typical kind of a threat. Pharaoh said no. God said, "No. You're going to beg us to leave after I get finished with you." It seems like that's what God was waiting for. He was waiting for Pharaoh to beg us to leave. Could have left many different ways, many different times. No. It had to be 10 plagues. And it had to be Pharaoh who insisted that we get out. It almost turns the whole story on its head. This is not a story about Moses. It's a story about Pharaoh. It's like, the name of the story is The Day Pharaoh Repented. Isn't that really what the story is about? Yeah, Moses said, "Let us go, let us go, let us go." Okay. The real trauma is that Pharaoh kept saying no and then begged us to leave. And when he begged us to leave, what was his reason? His reason is, "I realize we are the wicked ones, God is righteous, you gotta go." Almost as if the whole reason of being enslaved in the first place is for Pharaoh to say, we are the wicked ones, God is righteous. Go serve him. But we already know this from our conversations. The purpose of creation is to transform the unholy world into a holy world, the ungodly world into a godly world, the bitter world into a sweet world, and the darkness of the world into bright light. going from being the pagan, thinking he's God, having people worship him, to saying, no, 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 that's bad. God is right. That is the whole purpose of creation. And how does it come about? Through Moses. How did the survival of the human race, how did it happen? Through Noah. Noach and his family. There is always a human effort. There's always human partnership. All the prophets in the Torah. Why are they there? Why does God need prophets? Because there has to be human effort. That partnership is crucial. And that's why Moshiach can't be angel. He can be angelic, but he can't be an angel. He has to be a human being who is God's final partner in making the world perfect. That's why it is a bit surprising that Moses hit the rock when God told him to speak.
Negative
People were in
94.
need of water out in the wilderness, and they complained, and God said to Moses, speak to the rock, and it will give water. Water from a rock. Pretty amazing. Of course, we have to stop and wonder. God uses human beings as partners in creation. But why the rock? People needed water, they didn't need a rock. So God says, bring water out of a rock. Can we skip the rock? It doesn't make it any easier. It's not like the rock has water. Ask the rock to deliver its water. A rock has no water. So why do you want to get water out of a rock? Just make water. Say, let there be water. Why is God using Moses? And Moses has to use the rock. Skip the rock. It's of no help. Now, it's not like, well, you can't just make water out of nowhere. That's a huge miracle. So make it come out of a rock. Oh, that's a smaller miracle. Bringing water from a rock is exactly the same as bringing water out of nowhere. Because a rock does not contribute at all to the production of water. You know that the Israelis invented a way of drawing water out of the air. There's moisture in the air. They have a process by which they can extract the moisture out of the air.
It's
It's
a
amazing.
new freaking add-ons I'm gonna get come payday. Hold on, guys.
One of the coolest things LEGO does is selling fan sets, both on Bricklink and LEGO Ideas. There's tons of opportunities to submit your own fan model.
Hold on.
Water.
I'm gonna go off microphone for a little bit, guys. Hold on. is a cunt, you fucking idiot. Fucking hate God. The idea of a God is such a cunt move. What kind of nigger stands by and watches people suffer?
I'm going to perform a miracle that
You
is really
pedo.
cannot perform. How dare you to bring water out of the rock? So God says, speak to the
Tomorrow.
rock, and it will give water. Why the rock? God was sending a message to the people. If God speaks to a rock, the rock will obey. Which means nature is obedient to God's command. How do we know this? God said, let there be light, and there was light. So what do we know from that? Nature obeys God. So if God says water should come from a rock, the rock will produce water. How? I don't know.
Get over here, you dumb nigger.
But nature obeys God. That's the message that God was sending the people. There are times you won't obey. That's not right. Even nature obeys. Speak to the rock, and the rock will give water. It's a very profound message.
Oh, that means I could buy that game.
Very often,
We're gonna play some Need for Speed Unbound.
Spies and said the country is impossible to capture. They're too strong, they're too many, they're too big. We can't do it. Was that a terrible thing? They were wrong in their assessment. Like many times, your intelligence is simply wrong. They had weapons of mass destruction. Well, they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. But maybe they were wrong. That the people, the kings and the nations in Canaan land were not intimidated. Okay, so they were wrong. No. Why is that a sin? No. Says do it. Then you do it even though you can't. That was the message that God was sending when he told Moses to speak to the rock.
We're gonna play
Not only will the rock obey, the rock has no way of giving water. It is not capable. But if God says, how? That's God's business. You do it, and you're capable because you listen to God. God enables you to do impossible. So don't give me the excuse you can't. Something about that stirred Moses. If you don't obey me even when you think you can't, you're being bad. Moshe always
I'm gonna celebrate.
the Jews when they misbehave by saying, well, what do you expect?
You can eat dried kelp?
Even a rock.
I didn't know you could eat dried kelp.
I can't make Jews look bad. I'm their shepherd. Not condemning them. I speak to the rock, and of course it will give water. That will be held against them forever. There'll be no more forgiveness. No more excuses. So he hit the rock. Knowing full well.
Oh, this is cool.
If he hits the rock, he will not be allowed to enter Israel.
I love that.
Why was that his punishment? Punishment in quotes. Moses was saying, I can't do this. I know it's a profound message, a lesson from God about obedience, but it'll make God look really powerful, but it'll make the people look really bad. I gotta protect them. Moses had to make a choice between God and the not an easy choice to make. What were the consequences going to be? If he chooses to side with the people, then he is throwing his destiny in with the people. Those people were all going to die in the desert, and their children would enter the land. Which means that if he sides with them, he too will die in the desert. Being loyal to them. So he will share their fate and their destiny. He knew that. And he hit the rock. So when God comes to him and says, because you did that, you're not going into the land, he says, I know, I know. So it wasn't really a punishment. It was part of Moses' choice. He chose to side with them, meaning he would die where they died, and he would not die in the land. Now, last week we read in the Torah how Moses prayed, pleaded with God 515 times to be allowed to go into the land. That's a whole lot of praying going on. What was his prayer? He hit the rock because he wanted to share the destiny of the people. So he knew that that would mean that he's not going into the land. Now 515 times he begs to go into the land. Why did God simply say to him, you already made your choice? I think it should be obvious. He wasn't asking to go into the land by himself. He was asking that the whole generation that was supposed to die out should all enter the land. He wasn't going to go without them. So the 515 prayers meant, and let us all come into the land. But if you don't forgive them, of course I'm not going there.
1997.
Which is more characteristic of Moses. To pray for himself 515 times, that's a little selfish. So his prayer was becoming a little irresistible to God. So God said, stop. He didn't say no, he said stop. Don't force me to change my mind. So what do we see? Moses was not a man of kindness. He was a man of wisdom. A man of wisdom wants things to make sense. He wants to make sense of God's mitzvahs. It was all about learning and knowledge and understanding and knowing where things are going. What is the purpose? How do we get there? For 40 years, he was the teacher. That's what they did for 40 years.
No, you fucking nigger. I killed the dog by accident. Fucking nigger.
He made them all knowledgeable and wise. Now all of a sudden it turns out he's willing to give up everything for the benefit of the people. There was a hidden side to Moshe. Although he was all about learning and teaching and intelligence and wisdom and understanding, but under the surface, his devotion to the people was absolutely amazing. Almost out of character. And it's expressed very powerfully when the Jews made the golden calf. Moshe said to God, if you forgive the people, fine. If not, erase me from your book. That was not a threat. He wasn't threatening God. You have this bestseller, but if you don't forgive the people, you're going to take my name off it, and then it's not going to be such a bestseller. It wasn't a threat. He was saying, if you don't forgive the people, take me out of your book. Meaning, all the wisdom, all the knowledge, all the understanding is meaningless and worthless if you don't forgive me. I'm nothing. All my wisdom, all my understanding, all my book knowledge means nothing if I can't protect the people. Now, to complete the story, the Midrash tells us, the Midrash was written by the same sages as the Mishnah. The Midrash says that those people who refused to go into Israel after they came out of Egypt because they were intimidated or whatever it was, because they refused to go into Israel, they will not enter Israel even after the resurrection, when all other souls will be going into Israel. They are excluded. You said no to Israel, then you'll never go there. You will not be resurrected, and you will not come to the promised land at the end of days. However, because Moshe is buried with them in that same desert, because he shared their fate, and he will be resurrected, and he will go into the land with Mashiach, all those who are buried in the desert are welcome to join him in his merit as his guests. Which means that in the end, he will bring them into the land. He tried to do it back then with 515 prayers. Not good enough. In the time of the resurrection. How did he do that? By being buried with them. His prayers didn't help, but his devotion to them will pay off. And in the end, he is the one who took them out of Egypt. He is the one who brings them to the promise. Promises made.
Promises kept.
Took a while. A lot of powerful messages, a very powerful role model. There are things that prayer cannot accomplish. But goodness can.
Oh, look at us. Woohoo.
When we go out of our way for each other, that is more powerful than prayer.
Look at it. Can you imagine?
When you actually sacrifice for others, then you're unstoppable. So when we say Jews introduced monotheism to the world, I'm not even sure that's true. What we introduce to the world is that God is not an object, he's a someone. And what makes him a someone? He has preferences, he chooses, he has opinion and feeling. Let's start with what is God, which is also strongly connected to what is belief. What does it mean you believe in God? It makes it really sound like there is no God, you just have to believe it. God is a figment of your belief. So if you believe very strongly, then God is very real. If you don't believe, then he's not real. Like people say, I wish I could believe, but I don't. So there are the believers and there are the non-believers, and you can't switch from one to the other. And if a non-believer says, I started to believe, he lost his mind. He must have had a terrible experience.
What? Oh, this is that one. Oh.
So first, what is God?
Okay, I needed that.
The definition of God, simple, literal definition. That which was at the beginning. The universe had a beginning.
This is the one I stocked up.
Rocket science.
I forgot all about
Had
that.
a beginning. What was that beginning? We call it God. And from that beginning, from that original being, everything else evolved. Whether it was a big bang,
Really?
a little bang, two bangs, whatever it was, but it all started with something. That something is God. As a result of this simple definition, there is no one who doesn't believe in God. Except people who don't want to think. But the theory of evolution, for example, is a belief in God. But the God that they're talking about is a subatomic particle. There was a subatomic particle that was eternal, that was there at the beginning, it exploded, and the rest is history. So everyone has a God. Anyone who thinks. What came at the beginning? So there was this atheist, I forget his name, he passed away recently, he wrote books, God is not great. What was his name? Hitchens? Hitchens. So he was being interviewed, and the interviewer pressed him. You don't believe in any God? No God at all? Not a Jewish God, not a Christian God, no God at all? And he said, no. He said, then how did it start? And he got annoyed. And he said, I don't have to answer that. Okay? You don't have to answer it. I just thought I'd ask. I'm not forcing you to answer, but do you have an answer? He doesn't have to answer that because that's not part of science. That's silly. It's very much part of science. The whole thing, the whole theory of evolution is trying to figure out origins of the universe. What do you mean that's not part of science? So God is a scientific fact. And we're trying to identify it. Trying to pin it down. So if you want to refer to God as it, that's fine. That's legitimate. Now, what is the Jewish concept of God? What do we know about God because of revelation, because of the conversations that Avraham had with God, and Yitzchak had with God, and Yaakov had with God? What do we know about God? Take a look at the laws of idolatry. What constitutes other gods that we're not allowed to worship or believe
Well, you ain't doing this shit to me, niggers. No.
If I would believe, as some scientists do, that there was this
I'm
particle,
done.
it's not even a subatomic particle.
I am
it's something-
goddamn done.
a particle. And that particle contained all the information and all the wisdom and knowledge that designs the universe, that controls the universe, and so on. And from that particle, everything else came to be. Is that idolatry?
Oh, no, you didn't, nigger.
In simple words, are we supposed to attribute all great intelligence to God and to no one else?
Like, comment, subscribe, you guys. I'll see you in the next video.